Good evening and welcome to the Township of Clark Council meeting. It's Monday, April 21st at 7:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoff.
Here.
Councilmember Hund.
Here.
Councilmember Mazzarella.
Here.
Councilmember Manitti.
Here.
Councilmember O'Connor.
Here.
Councilmember Toll.
Here.
Council President Smith.
Here, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, as adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by mailing the annual schedule of meetings to the Star-Ledger, Union County Hawk, Union County Local Source, and Tappan to Clark, by posting such annual meeting schedule on the bulletin board in Town Hall reserved for such announcements, the official website of the Township, and the proper filing of said notice. Formal action may be taken at this meeting.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move to communications from the mayor and report of Township officers. Mayor Albanese.
Thank you, Mr. President. A couple of things going on in the community. First, I want to mention a big thank you to Columbia Bank for contributing and planting a red maple tree at Curry Field. Today is Arbor Day, and we want to thank them for doing that. Can't have enough trees. An update regarding fallen heroes. I'm pleased to tell you, first I want to thank you to all who've contributed thus far. We have some pledges we're expecting, very excited about, but we did receive a very generous donation from the American Legion, $8,000. The check was presented last Thursday, so thank you very much to Butch Sweetek for coming by and giving the check to former Captain Bill Duffy and myself. We're really pleased so that we can order the monuments and continue the project. So thank you so much to all the members and all the board members of the American Legion. As far as some of the things that are on the agenda tonight, I just want to mention that tonight we'll be welcoming, hopefully, our new acting CFO, Christy Vieira. We have total confidence in her, and we're very excited about her taking on the position. She'll be taking her exam later on this year, and we expect her to pass that and take on the position. So we are a civil service town, and in that regard, in order to fulfill the replacement of her position that she had, we'll be going through the process, and our business administrator has his hands full with that as one of the items, many items he's covering at this time. In addition, we have Joe DiIorio on the agenda, who's a man of many skills. I've known him, well, for many, many years. He's been a mayor, and he is a CFO and a QPA, and he'll be assisting us while we have an absence in our QPA position, while we get folks trained and tested to take over that position. To replace that opening. Moving on to the budget. I'd like to make a few comments about the budget. Tonight we'll be introducing our municipal budget. And please note, the municipal budget accounts for 30% of your final tax bill. It covers all municipal services. This includes public safety, parks, recreation, roads, senior services, recycling, planning and engineering, and the public library, as well as much, much more. And to get to the bottom line of things, for this year, 2025, the average home has an equalized value of $527,000. So that's the average value of a home. The total municipal increase, including funding for the library, is under 2% this year. The average increase amounts to $48 per year for each household, average household, and that's $3.95 a month. The overall budget, including all revenues and appropriations, increased $2.75 million, from a total of $30.8 million to $33.6 million in 2025. But I'm pleased to advise you that $1.7 million of that $2.75 million, is related to grants received, which I've mentioned to you in the past, including most notably the $1.5 million purchase of a new ladder truck for our fire department, and a grant also for the rehabilitation of the Robinson House. The largest increases outside of our contractual salary increases come from the ongoing increase in healthcare costs, and that amounted to $491,000, an overall increase of 12%. That's about 4% less than the average value for those participating in the state plan, which was 16%. In addition, our communications department reflects an increase of $203,000, and that's related to investments for on-site desktop support and cybersecurity monitoring. While costly, it is absolutely necessary in today's environment. On the revenue side, we had a decrease in one-time state municipal relief fund aid from the state of New Jersey, and that was a reduction in revenue of $186,000, which we received in 2024. I'm pleased to provide the Township Council and the public with a budget that demonstrates our continued commitment to striking a balance between providing, as in the past, a wealth of services while controlling costs. And that concludes my update, Mr. President.
Great, thank you, Mayor Albanese. Councilmember Huff?
Sorry about that. Okay, I'm doing the library report. Okay, sorry. I wanted to do the report from the library. They have several events that are coming up. They are doing Paint a Pot, Plant a Flower on Thursday, May 1st, and all of the details can be found on their website, on their Facebook page. They really do a tremendous job putting the information out there if you want to take a look at it. So you can get more information about all of these. But there's also like the Teen Craft Break, which they're doing cat squeegee art on Monday, May 5th. The Seeing Eye Presents, which is a visit with Seeing Eye puppies. That is happening on Thursday, May 8th. They're doing Female Spies of the Civil War on May 12th. And something I think that's phenomenal is Meet a Police Officer. That's going to be on Tuesday, May 13th at 3:30, and celebrate National Police Week by coming to the library to meet some real-life officers and listen to a story. They're also going to talk about their jobs, show off their gear, answer questions, and even let people check out their vehicles. So that is what's going on in the month of May. Again, you can look on their website, you can look at their social channels. They have a plethora of information that's easy to find. And also, it continues to amaze me, all of the services that the library offers with everything that you can lend out, and cornhole and microscopes and borrow all these sorts of things and use the 3D printer and such. But it does still amaze me that in March, they had a total of 8,245 visitors and had 6,149 website visits. And I don't have anything to add beyond the Board of Education. I know had a wonderful meeting in which they celebrated certain people, so I encourage you to look at their page as well, or you can watch the video from the meeting and continue to celebrate those educators who have been receiving different honors and such. And that's the conclusion of my reports.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Hun?
Thank you, Council President. I have the Clark Police Department monthly report for March, where we saw a total of 1,956 calls for service, including but not limited to 125 ambulance requests, 63 alarm calls, 3 criminal mischiefs, 2 for DUI, 10 for fire department requests, 14 fraud, identity thefts, 7 motor vehicle and residential lockouts, 80 motor vehicle accidents, 17 shoplifting and thefts, and we had a total of 170 911 calls and 1,274 miscellaneous calls. There is a total of 11 adult arrests, including but not limited to 6 for shoplifting, 1 for warrant, 2 for burglaries. The Youth Aid Bureau handled a total of 16 cases, including but not limited to 1 for simple assault, 1 for harassment, 1 for disorderly conduct, 2 for terroristic threats, and 3 for truancy. And that concludes my police report. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councilmember Mazzarella?
Yes, thank you, Council President. This is my DPW report for this evening. Electronic drop-off will be April 26th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the DPW yard behind this building. Your ID as a Clark resident will be required, so please make note of that. Spring cleanup final pickup starts April 28th. And please, ladies and gentlemen, do not put plastic bags in the biodegradable bags. They will be inspected, and if they're in there, they will not pick up the bags because we have no capacity to accept them. So please make note of that. May 6th begins grass pickup. Grass clippings only, please. No branches, twigs, plastic, and DPW again will be conducting inspection of those bags before they pick them up. So please limit that to the grass clippings. And to schedule any DPW services or pickups, go to www.ourclark.com and click on the tab for online services. This covers permits, bulky and appliance pickups, tree trimming, tree removal pickups, mulch deliveries, potholes, and accessory. Please let us know what appliance and metal you're scheduling to be picked up so we could have the proper vehicle to pick that up. Bulky and appliance pickup appointments are required by Thursday, the week before your scheduled pickup week. If you have small, bulky items and if they're scheduled to be picked up, please put them in a bag and don't leave them loose at your curbside. And no paint or chemicals will be accepted. Free mulch is now available while supplies last. Please email dpw@ourclark.com for more information. Thank you. That's the extent of my report.
Thank you. Councilmember Maniti.
Thank you, Council President. In the month of March, the Clark Fire Department responded to 46 calls, bringing the total to 121 for the year. These calls included, but not limited to, multiple odor and alarm calls. 5 incidents were pertaining to motor vehicles, including 3 incidents on the Garden State Parkway with 1 entrapment. 2 calls regarding downed power lines throughout the town. 1 call for smoldering mulch at a resident's home. The Clark Fire Department also responded to a fire in a public garbage can in the Railway River Park, which was quickly extinguished. Additionally, the department assisted the Clark Police Department in responding to a bomb scare at the ALJ High School this past month. Thank God, and fortunately, everything was okay. And I would like to thank the members of the Clark Fire Department for keeping our town safe and for their continued hard work. The full department report is available at the clerk's office. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Connor.
Thank you. From the Clark Volunteer Emergency Squad, in March, the squad added a new probationary member and 1 cadet. They held their awards dinner at the Westwood, where they recognized the following individuals for their years of service: Sylvia Constantino, 45 years, Brian Butterly, 10 years, Catherine Sheldon, 10 years. In addition, the following members were recognized by the North Jersey Blood Center and our medical director, Dr. Matthew Letzia, for special service. Star of Life Award, individual who made decades of dedication, Gary Wagner. Community service, recognized as an individual for work done in support of the squad, Susan Alachi. Shining Light Award, providing dedication during a probationary year of service, Rob Macaluso. Distinguished Service Award, Distinguished Service Achievement for answering the most calls, Catherine Sheldon. Squad's life member, Michael Gennaro, pre-entered a 2 CEU class for the 2nd District squads, which are volunteer squads from Union counties plus a few others, on EMS and the crime scene. Over 50 people were in attendance. The squad hosted a regional course on expanded scope of practice for EMTs with Dr. Letzia as part of the new protocols made available by the New Jersey Department of Health, OEMS, with close to 60 attendees. With regard to call volume, there were 106 calls in January with 7 mutual aids. This does not include any calls that were dispatched and canceled on. Total hours responding to calls is approximately 691 man-hours. Of course, this does not include any hours the members are on duty when not on calls, and year-to-date call volume is 364 calls. With regard to membership, for those who would like to assist the squad but may not have time to do the EMT training, we are accepting applications for people who are interested in becoming drivers for the ambulance. Must be 18 years of age with a clean driving record. Anyone interested can email the squad at www.ourclark.org or membership@clarkems.org. With regard to servicing the community, the squad's training officer, Michael Hakowski, presented 2 CPR classes for Township employees. The squad hosted 3 blood drives in March and is looking to expand the number each month as the need for blood is increasing. And the squad hosted Girl Scout troops working on their first aid badge and an Eagle Court of Honor. Respectfully submitted by Lori Sheldon, trustee. That concludes my report this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Toll.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the Environmental Committee, through Mark Hayden, the chairman, the annual Rollway River cleanup shall be conducted this Saturday, April the 26th, 2025, from 8:45 to 12 noon. All interested in participating are asked to go to the Winfield Park Dam. You go in from the outside of Winfield along the parkway, and it takes you right to the back end where the dam is located in the falls. Please wear appropriate clothing and bring a bucket and gloves for collecting the garbage. The cleanup is under the direction of Clark's own Joe Zebo, who will be giving an instructional tour for the importance of helping Mother Nature with the cleanup of itself by removing man's waste. If you have time this Saturday, I know everyone's busy doing their own worlds with the sports and the kids, and that's wonderful. We appreciate you're involved with your family. But if you can give a little extra time to go down to the Winfield Park Dam this Saturday morning, rain day is Sunday, to help clean up Mother Nature. These are the things that kind of get in the way sometimes. And we have to give it a little bit of help at bringing back our stuff and put it in the proper location so it's recycled. rivercleanup.comcast.net for all those details on the river cleanup and if you'd like to participate. And again, Joe Zebo's running this. The reservoir is done in the fall. The spring is the Rollway River. Refreshments will be offered to all participants, and all are welcome. That's all I have for tonight, Mr. President. Thank you for your time.
Great, thank you. From the Pool and Recreation Department, the Easter egg hunt was held on Saturday, April 12th from 12 to 2 p.m. in the Brewer Recreation Center. There were a few thousand people in attendance. There was plenty of crafts, entertainment, snacks, games, raffles, and pictures with the Easter Bunny. I want to thank Ralph Bernardo and his staff and the numerous volunteers who helped set up, work the event, and then cleaned up afterwards. If you're interested in any of the spring classes that are underway, there's still time to join them. Please stop by the Recreation Office for details. Registration is open for the Clark Community Pool. You can go online to ourclark.com, and under the Recreation tab, there is a pool registration tab, and all the information is on that. Or as always, you can stop at the Recreation Office. And if you have any questions, you could always contact Ralph Bernardo at 732-428-8400, or his email is rbernardo@ourclark.com. And that concludes all our reports for this evening. Now we'll move on to ordinances, appropriations, and claims.
Thank you, Mr. President. For the record, no objections have been received in connection with the proposed ordinances. First ordinance is 25-09, an ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 347 entitled Vehicles and Traffic, adding Article 11, Motorized Bicycles and Scooters, Section 347-65, Motorized Bicycles and Scooters of the Code of the Township of Clark.
Great, thank you. At this time, I will open up the public hearing on this ordinance and this ordinance only. If anyone would like to come forward, please do so and state your name and the town you live in, and you'll have 5 minutes in duration. Okay, seeing nobody, I'd like a motion to close. Thank you, Councilman Toll. Thank you, Councilman Hund. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I need a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Yes, I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilmember Mazzarella. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilmember Hoff. Any discussion or questions? Jim, do you have anything to add? Or Mayor Albanese?
Yes. As we discussed when this was introduced, over the past 12 months, we've gotten a lot of complaints and more issues about the safety of our children and also those who are driving in the streets. And it's very important that we implement this safety issue so that everyone understands what the rules are, and that's pretty much it in summary. It's about safety. That's number one.
Great, thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
Council members Hoff,
Yes.
Hund,
Yes.
Mazzarella,
Yes.
Minnitti,
Yes.
O'Connor,
Yes.
Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted. Next is ordinance 25-10, an ordinance to amend Chapter 117 entitled Clothing Donation Bins, Section 117-7, limitations on the locations and numbers of clothing bins of the Code of the Township of Clark.
Great, thank you. At this time, I'll open up the public hearing on this ordinance and this ordinance only. If anyone would like to come forward, please do so. State your name and the town you reside in, and you'll have 5 minutes or duration. Okay, seeing no one, I'd like a motion to close. Thank you, Councilman O'Connor. Can I get a second? Thank you, Councilmember Hun. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? At this moment, I need a motion to adopt the ordinance.
I'd like to move that, please.
Thank you, Councilmember Hun. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilmember Hoff. Any discussion on this? I believe. Go ahead, Jim, if you want to give a quick summary.
This is just a request for the bins for veterans organizations. They still have to comply with all of the regular rules of pickup times, cleanliness, et cetera. So it's just one exception for veteran organizations.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Council members Hoff,
Yes.
Hund,
Yes.
Mazzarella,
Yes.
Minnitti,
Yes.
O'Connor,
Yes.
Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted. Ordinance 25-11, bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of new information technology equipment and a new automobile vehicle, including original apparatus and equipment, in, by, and for the Township of Clark in the County of Union, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $1,050,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Great, thank you. At this time, I'll open the public hearing on this ordinance. If anyone would like to come forward on this ordinance only, please state your name and the town you reside in, and you'll have 5 minutes in duration. All right, seeing no one, I'd like a motion to close the public hearing. Who's that? Councilman O'Connor? And second was Councilmember Hun. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, at this time, I need a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Yes, I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilmember Mazzarella. Can I get a second, please?
Second that, Mr.
Thank
President.
you, Councilmember Toll. Any discussion? Go ahead, Mayor Albanese.
Thank you, Mr. President. This $3.3 million bond ordinance includes $1.6,440,000 in grants for basically our DOT grant, $694,000 for Valley Road. The fire truck, we're getting 75 cents on the dollar for that. It's $2.3 million of the ordinance, and we'll be paying down $800,000 and the balance from grants. And the Robinson House.
I think you're doing ordinance number 4. We're on ordinance 3.
Oop, sorry.
Yep, we're doing the road improvements, the ambulance, and the IT.
Okay.
And it was $1,050,000.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Do you have anything to add on that? No? Go ahead, Jim. Do you have anything?
No, I think
Oh, that was it.
No, it's the first one, 2511 is for the 700,000 for roads, the 325 for the ambulance, and $25,000 for the
Or
computers.
the IT, correct.
Yeah,
it was-
so, it's just the, the standard, that's about what we spend on roads every year, a little bit more than $1 million, but then we have the 694,000 coming in from the grant. And then the ambulances, unfortunately, are costing $325,000. And we want to upgrade our server so we have some redundancy and upgrade a bunch of computers that are reaching end of life, so we can have new Windows versions on it.
Great, thank you. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Hoff.
Yes.
Hund.
Yes.
Mazzarella.
Yes.
Minnitti.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted. Ordinance 25-12 is a bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements and the acquisition of a new fire truck, including original apparatus and equipment, in, by, and for the Township of Clark in the County of Union, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $3,340,000 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate state grants, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Great, thank you. At this time, I'll open up the public hearing on this ordinance. If anyone would like to come forward, please state your name and town you live in, and you'll have 5 minutes in duration.
Good evening. Hi, my name's, is it on?
Oh, there should be a button.
Is the light on, the green light?
On the mic itself.
Yeah.
Higher, okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Jeff Alexander. I reside in Clark. I wanted to comment on this last ordinance. I just went and did some research comparing what we do to some other towns and just questioning, the expense of a new fire truck. I don't know the details of the truck or if it's what it's replacing. But when I compared Clark to Union, Cranford, and Westfield, what I found was Clark, which has the smallest population, I think currently has 6 trucks, and the information I could find indicates we have 40 firefighters. I don't know if that's full-time employees or includes volunteers or not. The other towns, Union is 4 times our size, also has 6 trucks, 24 firefighters, and they answered over 5,000 calls last year compared to what I could find on our town, 478 calls. Cranford is 24,000 people, about the same size, has 5 trucks, responded to 4,300 calls, and Westfield, population is about twice of us, Clark's, also has 5 trucks and responded to 1,500 calls. So it seems like we're either my information's wrong or just something seems off. It seems disproportionate, the number of trucks we have, the number of firefighters we have, and I just question whether we actually need to spend this kind of money on another truck. And my second question, I guess related to that, is what happens to the truck that's being decommissioned? Is that sold? Does the township make money off that, or do they just kind of go, into where fire trucks go after they're done? So that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Anyone else like to come forward on this ordinance? Okay, seeing no one, I'd like a motion to close the public hearing. Thank you, Councilmember Toll. Can I get a second? Thank you, Councilmember O'Connor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Can I get a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Yes, I'll move this as well.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilmember Hoff. Go ahead, Jim.
So I'll take some of that. I'm not a fire expert, and I can, follow up with the Chief Sarasa. However, there were multiple different types of trucks. So we got a ladder truck, a pumper truck, we got a quint, and we have some rescue trucks. So there's, even though we may have the same number of trucks, it is for fire safety, specifically on the type of vehicle that we have serving specific purposes. And, the answer we have, don't hold me to this, I believe it's approaching 25 or maybe close to 25 years old, the American LaFrance ladder truck. That ladder truck will be donated. It will be auctioned off as soon as we get this. We also have the option to trade it in as a reduction of the cost. we will have to see where we are at that time. Right now, we're looking at least a year and a half to 2.5 years before it's going to be delivered. One of the reasons why we needed the ladder truck is not only some of the size of the buildings, in town, but also, to help out in mutual aid in other towns as other towns help us. So, I mean, at this point, there is a need for the new ladder truck. And like I said, it's part of the overall vehicle response, or the number of vehicles and the type of vehicles for the overall response to keep the town safe.
And just to add on to that, so except for the chief, we do have a complete volunteer fire squad. So we're fortunate now, we've opened it up to, as you know, council, members can join from other towns, because not everyone works in town like they did years and years ago, where they were able to respond. So we are grateful to have the many volunteers that we do have. As far as selling the truck, I did work in a town where we did sell a truck. Believe it or not, there are people that collect fire trucks. We sold it to someone in Florida, and as James mentioned, we can do it through auction or get a deduction on the, once we process the purchase order. We'll see what the price is and look at that. As far as the number of calls, that seemed very low. I don't know if you were looking at a monthly report, but we can gather that information. So, 474, you said, for the year?
480 last year.
Yeah? Okay. I just feel like I see them every day on the Parkway, responding to calls, but, okay.
Turn your microphone on.
I said, I'm not sure of the exact number, but we can get you the exact number.
So a little over one a day is what we're saying, yeah. So as far as, I'm sorry I mixed up that ordinance before, but let's see if there was anything else. I don't know if I completed the whole thing. I guess I was talking about the Robinson House. We're getting $146,000 on that, $346,000 improvement. I think that sums it up. Thank you.
And the first half of that was the Valley Road combined
Yeah,
with-
$694,000 for Valley Road is the total cost. The grant is $437,000, and for the fire truck, $2.3 million. As Jim mentioned, it's going to take 1.5 years to 2 years to get that fire truck. It's a long lead time throughout the United States for fire trucks.
May I?
Yes, go ahead, Councilmember Huff.
So I know you just gave, Mayor, I know you just gave the amount of the fire truck, but I just want to reiterate, this is coming from a huge portion of a grant, right?
Correct, 75 cents on the dollar.
Yeah. So I thought that was incredible. All right, thank you.
It was from our Senate President friend Nick Scutori. It was a big movement on getting that grant for us, so we're thankful to him for that. Anyone else have any questions or discussion on that? Okay, we're going to go roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoff.
Yes.
Hund.
Yes.
Mazzarella.
Yes.
Minetti.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted.
Okay, when you're ready, we'll move on to introduction of proposed ordinances.
Okay, the first ordinance is 25-13, an ordinance to amend Section 33 of Chapter 347 of the Code of the Township of Clark entitled Vehicles and Traffic.
Can I get a motion? Thank you, Councilmember Toll. Can I get a second, please? Second. Thank you, Councilmember Minetti. Any discussion or questions on it? It's pretty cut and dry, just a stop sign at the end of King Street where it goes into Bartell.
Trying to take my job?
Yeah,
Anytime.
saving your voice. Anyone else have any questions on that? All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoff.
Yes.
Hund.
Yes.
Mazzarella.
Yes.
Minetti.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Public hearing on this ordinance will be May 19th. Ordinance 25-14 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 240 entitled Parks and Recreation Areas, Article 2 entitled Use of Facilities, Section 6 entitled Fees of the Code of the Township of Clark.
I get a motion, please?
I'll move that, please.
Thank you, Councilmember O'Connor. Get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilmember Hoff. Any discussion or questions? Jim?
Yeah, this is just something like we do, for all of our departments, all of our fees. We look at the surrounding communities, and actually our fees are still a bit lower than some of the surrounding communities, but it's a community outreach. It's, we want to have people, using recreation, so we don't want to make it, too cost prohibitive, but we are increasing all of the costs.
I believe those fees have not been increased for over 20 years as well, correct? Or close to that?
About 20 years.
Yeah. Great. Okay, anyone else have questions or discussion? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoff,
Yes.
Hund,
Yes.
Mazzarella,
Yes.
Miniti,
Yes.
O'Connor,
Yes.
Toll,
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Public hearing on this ordinance is May 19th. Ordinance 25-15 is an ordinance to amend various sections of Chapter 358 entitled Motion Pictures of the Code of the Township of Clark.
Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Oh, thank you, Councilmember Mazzarella, and second, Councilmember Toll. Thank you. Any discussion or questions? Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, so this comes from the State Film Ready Committee. And one of the things that they did is they have a website, they have the availability of what towns have a process in place to, film in. And they came out with a new set of guidelines. This is a breakout now of the new set of guidelines for turnaround time, in costs, depending on, what number of days that they're going to be filming, et cetera. So we're just staying consistent so we remain a film-ready community.
Great, thank you. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoff,
Yes.
Hund,
Yes.
Mazzarella,
Yes.
Miniti,
Yes.
O'Connor,
Yes.
Toll,
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Public hearing on this ordinance is May 19th. Ordinance 25-16 is an ordinance to supplement Ordinance 24-17, entitled An Ordinance to Fix Minimum and Maximum Salaries.
I'll move that, please.
Thank you, Councilmember Hund is the mover. Can I get a second? Thank you, Councilmember O'Connor. Any discussion or questions? Jim?
Yeah, this is to add the police director salaries to our salary ordinance. We never had it before, and it gives us the flexibility in the event that we want to add a police director.
Great, thank you for the explanation. Anyone else? All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoff,
Yes.
Hund,
Yes.
Mazzarella,
Yes.
Miniti,
Yes.
O'Connor,
Yes.
Toll,
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Public hearing on this ordinance will be May 5th in Town Hall.
Okay, I'd like to move to payment of claims. Councilman O'Connor?
Thank you. I have reviewed the bills for the month totaling $472,370.57. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, at this time, we will move to the citizens' hearing on the agenda. I'm going to open the meeting to the public. The public comment portion of the meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments in accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the Code of the Township of Clark. Each person addressing the council shall give their name and the town in which they reside to the clerk. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a body and shall not exceed 5 minutes in duration. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president, at his discretion, may choose to respond or not respond. So at this time, if anyone would like to come forward, please do so. And state your name and the town you reside in, and you'll have 5 minutes. Please come forward.
Hi, Jeff Alexander of Clark again. I just wanted to comment on the Clark Library and really give them a shout out. The librarians there do a great job, and it's a great asset to the community, and just wanted to get that on the record. I have 2 grandkids. They have all kinds of events all the time at the library, and my grandkids really enjoy going there, and they just all very friendly and do a great job.
Great, thank you. Just for the members of the town, this is just for agenda items, so if there's anything not on the agenda, you could bring up. So, go ahead, Mr. Greaves, you want to come forward, please?
Hello, John Greaves from Clark. I just had a couple questions about the appointment of Mr. Ulrich to the DPW director. I guess I was just curious, it seems like it would be a job that would take multiple hours per week, and, he's probably pretty busy with the business administrator duties, so I was just curious. It just seems like that might be a lot for it seems like a job for two people, and one person is doing it. And, I've been concerned because it seems like the DPW has reduced its workforce over the last few years. I know a few years ago it was 19 full-time workers and 2 part-time workers, and now, the most recent data that I was able to get from last year was 14 full-time workers. So it just seems like additional people that are working directly just for DPW would be important because we're putting a lot of strain on the existing workers. So I'm just concerned that, like I said, it seems like a job for 2 people that one person might be doing, and there's that. And then regarding the budget, I just wanted to know when that might be available on the website. I haven't been able to see it just yet, and that's it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Greaves. Isn't the budget, wasn't it posted?
We would require your vote first to adopt it, council, then we will certainly publish it. Tomorrow, we'll get right on it.
Thank you for the reminder.
I think I mentioned at the workshop that's how the process would work, just so the public knows. So once the council has presented the budget from the administration, they have an opportunity to review it, question it, and hopefully tonight they're going to adopt it. And then it will be posted on the website for you to review, ask questions, and then we'll have a hearing next month at our regular meeting. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Anyone else like to come forward?
Good evening, Delia Collins, clerk. I have 2 questions, possibly 3, regarding resolution number 9 and resolution number 10. Maybe I did not know this, that we have a chief financial officer. Now we're going to have an acting chief municipal finance officer, and we're going to have a qualified purchasing agent. It seems like a lot of people to handle the finances of Clark, along with our business administrator, Mr. Ulrich. Also, I don't know if Ms. Kabliska is still employed with the town, and is Ms. Vieira taking over her position, or is it an additional position, and what is the salary? And same with Mr. Diorio, his position as a QPA, which is mandated by the state of New Jersey, according to the notes on here. I don't know if you are aware that he was fined by the New Jersey Local Finance Board in 2024, a fine of $750, and he paid that fine in October of 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Collins. Anyone else like to come up on some of the agenda items? So regarding Ms. Kobliska, she is no longer employed by the town. She ended up leaving, took a business administrator position, I believe, in another town?
Finance director in Summit.
Finance director in Summit. So Christy worked for Jen and was in the process of taking all her classes, and she has a few more classes to take, so she is going to be the acting chief municipal finance officer. So basically sitting in Jen's position, but until she passes the test, she can't get the full title. Is that correct?
Correct. We received approval from the director of DLGS, Mike Roberts, so that's exactly correct. Jennifer resigned.
And Ms. Kobliska was also the qualified purchasing agent as well.
That's correct. So it's not a statutory position, but it enables us to have a higher threshold of $44,000 when going out to bid. So I believe that Mr. Diorio is going to work on a case-by-case basis on for an hourly fee when he reviews a bid or what have you, or whatever documents.
And on the DPW reduction in manpower, I don't believe we've cut any services, and some of it was, I believe, retirements, correct?
Again, we backfilled as time, so we don't run into issues. The plan is always to have people who are coming up through the ranks as people are approaching retirement. So there's a couple of years that we have some overlap. In addition, we broke out, like you saw a couple of meetings ago, the cleaning service from the DPW. So that all used to be part. It is a situation where we are now, putting people in the right bucket or in different buckets to, track expenditures related to different services throughout the town.
Great. All right, thank you. Go ahead, Councilmember O'Connor.
And Jim, do you feel that you have the capacity to take on this additional responsibility?
The DPW department has been operating without an issue for many years. It gets into a little bit of technicality of the director / shade tree. One of the things is we need a shade tree director to review all of the plans when they come in. So it's more of a title. I mean, if we had a director of DPW and a shade tree director separate, it wouldn't be. It's just a title thing. It's the minimum salary within the range, and this was the whole thing that the former mayor was acting shade tree director that, there was a big deal made out of. So we need to have a shade tree director. There is some stipulations on acting. I don't have them in front of me, but acting could only be for a certain period of time in certain conditions. As such, those conditions are not available right now, and I'm taking over that role as the shade tree director to deal with any type of shade tree. As for DPW, it's going to operate the same as it has, no issues. If there are any concerns, they're always coming to me anyway. So overall, I'm responsible for all departments within the township anyway, so it's no difference than anything that's been going on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. All right, at this time, I'd like a motion to close this portion of the meeting. So moved. Thank you, Councilman Toll. Can I get a second? Thank you, Councilmember Hund. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, now we'll move on to resolutions.
First resolution is appointing Christy Vieira as Acting Chief Municipal Finance Officer effective March 26, 2025, for a term of 1 year, subject to renewal as permitted by law pursuant to NJAC 5:32-2.
Can I get a motion? Thank you, Councilmember Manitti. Can I get a second? Councilmember O'Connor. Thank you. Any discussion? Need anything to add to that? I believe I summarized it a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's all been approved by the state. It went through the state. This is just the final requirement that we need to do is send them a resolution from the township to formalize the agreement.
Great, thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoff.
Yes.
Hund.
Yes.
Mazzarella.
Yes.
Manitti.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Okay, number 10 is appointing Joseph D'Iorio as qualified purchasing agent for the township and increasing the bid threshold pursuant to NJSA 40A:11-3A and NJAC 5:34-5.
Thank you. Get a motion? Thank you, Councilmember O'Connor. Get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilmember Manitti. Any discussion or questions up here? Jim, do you have anything?
The only thing, just to answer the one question, I mean, he is certified by DLGS. He's been, his license is in good standing, and, I don't know the specifics per se, but he is, by the state, he's a licensed qualified QPA.
Great, thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoff.
Yes.
Hund.
Yes.
Mazzarella.
Yes.
Manitti.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 11 is confirming the appointment of James Ulrich as Director of Public Works / Shade Tree at an annual salary of $1,750.
You got a motion?
I'll move it.
Entire council?
You
Yeah,
move
you
that?
could do it. Yeah.
Is everyone in favor of
Yeah.
entire council on that? Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're going to do an EC on that. Any further discussion on that?
I don't think anybody better for the job.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoff,
Yes.
Hund,
Yes.
Mazzarella,
Yes.
Minnitti,
Yes.
O'Connor,
Yes.
Toll,
I've got a couple of potholes for him, but yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Next is the introduction of the 2025 municipal budget.
Do you want to read this into the record now, or do we got to do the motion first?
I'll read it into the record first.
Please do.
Okay. Municipal budget of the Township of Clark, County of Union for calendar year 2025. Be it resolved that the following statements of revenues and appropriations shall constitute the municipal budget for the year 2025. Explanatory statement, summary of current funds section of approved budget year 2025. General appropriation, appropriations within caps for municipal purposes, $23,513,749.22. Appropriations excluded from caps for municipal purposes, $9,012,023. Local district school purposes and municipal budget, 0. Total general appropriations excluded from caps, $9,012,023. Reserve for uncollected taxes based on estimated 98.50% of taxes collected, $1,100,000. Total general appropriations, building aid allowance 2025 for school state aid 2024, 0. Less anticipated revenues other than current property tax, such as surplus miscellaneous revenues and receipts from delinquent taxes, $11,456,152.75. The difference, the amount to be raised by taxes for support of municipal budget, local tax for municipal purposes, including reserve for uncollected taxes, $20,868,495.47. Additional for local district school tax, 0. Minimum library tax, $1,301,124. Be it further resolved that notice is hereby given that the budget and tax resolution was introduced by the Municipal Council of the Township of Clark, County of Union, State of New Jersey on April 21st, 2025. And be it further resolved that said budget be published in summary in the Union County Hawk in the issue of May 1st, 2025. Be it further resolved that a regular meeting for the hearing on the budget and tax resolution will be held at the Public Safety Building, 315 Westfield Avenue, on May 19th, 2025, at 7:30 p.m., at which time and place objections to said budget and tax resolution for the year 2025 may be presented by the taxpayers or other interested persons.
Great, thank you. At this time, can I get a motion?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilmember Minnitti, and I'm going to second that. Any discussion? Jim or Mayor Albanese, you have anything to add other than?
I think, the mayor went over all of the highlights of the budget, and as we discussed, with the council. I mean, it was a tough year. We got it down as low as possible. About $50 a household. The average household is any increase is, an increase, but it was, it could have been a lot worse, and some of the surrounding communities are a lot worse. So we did a really good job of, keeping down the tax increase without reducing any services.
Thank you. Councilman O'Connor?
Yeah, I'd like to have some comments from the Finance Committee. Based on the 2024 and 2025 budget data, significant variances were identified and explained through the comments provided. The total expenditures for departments with notable changes rose from approximately $30.85 million in 2024 to $33.6 million in 2025, reflecting a total increase of about $2.75 million. This growth is driven by both controllable and fixed cost adjustments, often tied to strategic initiatives or staffing changes. Of the $2.75 million, $1.7 million was associated with an increase of expenditures related to grants received to rehabilitate the Robinson House and purchase a new ladder truck. We were further benefited from a reduction in debt services of $166,000. As a result, the average taxpayer will only see an increase of $48 per household, or $3.95 per month, as the mayor had alluded to earlier. Controllable expenses accounted for approximately $570,000 of the total variance and reflect strategic decisions made by individual departments. For example, the Communications Department saw a $203,000 increase due to investments in on-site desktop support and cybersecurity monitoring. The clerk's office added $62,000 to its budget to hire a deputy clerk in anticipation of a staff retirement. The Public Works Department increased its budget to allow temporary summer help, and the Tax Collector's Office adjusted spending to accommodate changes in billing services. These shifts represent targeted efforts to improve service delivery, streamline operations, and respond to staffing needs, all of which fall within the discretion of management. Fixed expenses, totaling approximately $765,000 of the overall variance, were primarily driven by contractual and non-discretionary obligations that departments have limited flexibility to adjust. For instance, the engineering department saw a notable increase tied to ongoing contractual engineering support and permit compliance efforts. Similarly, several departments, including police, fire, and emergency services, reported rises in fixed costs related to union-mandated salary increases, pension obligations, and insurance premiums. These adjustments reflect structural costs that support core municipal functions and are often dictated by labor agreements, state requirements, or multi-year contracts. Overall, the 2025 budget reflects proactive planning in both discretionary and non-discretionary areas. The presence of a clear justifications in the comments indicates thoughtful allocation of the funds, balancing the need for operational upgrades and service continuity with fiscal responsibility. Fixed costs remain the large component of the budget variance, but controllable spending highlights strategic intent. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Get a roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoff.
Yes.
Hund.
Yes.
Mazzarella.
Yes.
Minetti.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Public hearing on the budget will be May 19th. Number 13 is award of contract to the Yard LLC for grass disposal services in the amount of $18 per cubic yard.
Get a motion?
I'll motion.
Thank you, Councilmember Hoff. Second, Councilmember Hun. Any discussion? Questions? Jim, do you have anything?
I mean, this went out to bid, and we're taking the lowest bidder.
Your
The other
microphone.
bidder was at $21.25 with a additional fuel charge of $50 per visit versus the $18. And again, this is only the transportation, not the disposal cost. Disposal costs are billed separately through the county.
Great, thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoff.
Yes.
Hund.
Yes.
Mazzarella.
Yes.
Minetti.
I would like to abstain, please.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. Number 14 is award of contract to T. Fiatakis Construction Incorporated for the Year 50 Community Development Block Grant Curb and Ramp Improvement Project in the amount of $16,540.
Get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilmember Toll. Get a second? Thank you, Councilmember O'Connor. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is to do curb cuts, handicap curb cuts on Waterson. And again, we went out to bid, and the low bidder was at $16,540, and that's the one we're going with.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hoff.
Yes.
Hund.
Yes.
Mazzarella.
Yes.
Minetti.
Yes.
O'Connor.
Yes.
Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes. Now we'll move to consent agenda resolutions. The following items are considered routine and non-controversial items by the Township Council and will be enacted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda to be discussed and voted on following the approval of the remaining items listed on the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, you want?
Thank you. Number 15 is authorizing submission of a grant application requesting $250,000 and execution of all necessary documents by the mayor and/or business administrator for the 2025 Capital Project Grant Program to upgrade the Sexton Pump Station. 16 is approving Edward Fines as Class 1 Special Law Enforcement Officer effective April 21st until December 31st, 2025. 17 is authorizing submission of a strategic plan for the Clark Municipal Alliance Grant for fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $13,194. And 18 is authorizing the tax collector to apply sewer account balance adjustments as credit in the amount of $38,919.20. And 19 is authorizing the tax collector to refund overpayment of sewer fees in the amount of $420.34.
I get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So moved, Mr.
Thank you,
President.
Councilmember Tolk. I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilmember Hoff. Roll call, please.
Councilmembers Hoff,
Yes.
Hund,
Yes.
Mazzarella,
Yes.
Minetti,
Yes.
O'Connor,
Yes.
Toll,
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
President Smith? Council President, I'd just like to congratulate Edward Fines and welcome him as a Class 1 Special Law Enforcement Officer. As you recall, we've been looking for specials, so thank you to him for responding to the call. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Is there any new business on the calendar?
There is no new business.
Okay, at this time, we're going to go to public comments. I'll open the meeting to the public. The public comment portion of the meeting is to allow the public to bring to the council's attention their concerns or comments in accordance with NJSA 10:4-12A and the Code of the Township of Clark. Each person addressing the council shall give their name and the town in which they reside to the clerk. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a body and shall not exceed 5 minutes in duration. At the conclusion of the statements or questions from a member of the public, the council president at his discretion may choose to respond or not respond. So at this time, if anyone would like to come forward, please do.
Good evening. My name is Michael Schulman. I live in Clark, New Jersey. I wanted to talk about something that has been addressed on and off at these meetings and the workshop meetings for, I don't know, probably longer than we've all been coming to these, which is traffic issues here in town. I was asked to come here for some folks who live in my ward, specifically on Featherbed Lane, who have seen, as many people have in this town, just a influx, if not steady stream of speeding cars, other traffic violations. I know several months ago there was a massive accident right on Featherbed, almost next to the Deutscher Club and Featherbed Lane School. And that's an area that is obviously traveled every day. And when there's not standstill traffic at rush hour, it becomes a raceway. And this is an area that, as just mentioned, has two schools, the Deutscher Club, a community service organization, and is an area that I think is in desperate need of some sort of traffic control system. Folks that I've spoken to, I believe some of them had written into the town because there's been some folks organizing in that neighborhood, and they asked me to speak tonight about possibly the installation of speed tables, speed humps, frankly, just generalized enforcement in the area, because with two schools there, it doesn't unfortunately get the crossing guards like the public schools get, but there's hundreds, if not probably close to maybe several hundred students and their parents traveling back and forth. And I was just trying to go through a little bit of history. I know people have been bringing this up meeting after meeting in different neighborhoods. This is not a unique problem necessarily. And back at a workshop meeting about a year and a half ago, there was another individual asking for the same type of relief on a different neighborhood, and it was mentioned by the mayor's predecessor that we don't put in speed humps or speed tables, and in fact noted that they're apparently unlawful. So, of course, the person I am did some digging, and there's nothing in the state or county statutes that prohibit the construction of these, and these are town roads. So it really would fall to us, traffic and engineering, to actually look into this. And I was curious to know, I guess, question-wise, can there be a study? I don't think there's been one recently. One hasn't been mentioned, at least I've been coming for now for several years, to really confirm the need for these so we don't get a worse accident. And the idea that was mentioned by the individual that we don't put them in is it impacts DPW snow plowing. And again, I think an irrational explanation, because every other town has speed control devices, and all of them have plows and leaf pickup and other machines that go on the streets without issue. So I was hoping that after tonight, the council would strongly consider actually taking some action and requesting that the town engineer and the folks in charge of traffic, I'd say in alliance with the police department, to look into some of this so we don't get a serious accident again that results in something worse like we had a few months ago. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Schulman.
Hello, John Greaves from Clark. I'm here to kind of follow up on the question I had about pilots last month, which was, would the council consider splitting some of the revenue that's coming to the town from the pilot programs with the school? Because under the pilot program, the town actually gets more money from the pilot money than they would if there was a normal taxing structure. And in the case of the Walnut Hill Apartments, you have 26 additional students going to the schools there. That puts the additional burden on the school. Could some of the money that's being sent to the town be put into the school budget? I know that you guys mentioned that there is the ordinance where the town pays some money, but that money is the money that was received before the development was there, when there were 0 students, and I believe it's about $55,000. And I believe that the town gets a little bit more than $500,000 under the pilot program, and they would get about $275,000 under a normal taxing structure. So could we take the excess over what a normal taxing structure would be and give that to the students? So there's that. And then I didn't really know much about the QPA that was being appointed. I heard from the other resident that there was a fine given. I did just a quick look right now. It seems that was because of a conflict of interest thing based around a sale, and it just seems like there's an ethical dilemma there, and I'd just like to say that that doesn't sound like a good thing. I don't know more than I found out a few minutes ago, but it certainly seems troublesome. And I guess, with the pilot program, is there any additional ordinance or anything? Because that particular ordinance only applies to the Walnut Hill Apartments. So any, like, CubeSmart and any additional pilots, I know that there's another pilot that was proposed but then had to be taken off the agenda, but it seems to be just delayed and will be coming soon. It does not seem that that additional money that is still insufficient, not even that amount would be applied under the current setup. So I'd just like to see if you guys could address that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Greaves.
Hi, Nancy Twaskis, Clark. I guess in one or two of the meetings that I missed, we no longer have to give our address, I noticed that. Second, I must be the only person that really doesn't like to hear the use of grants over and over and over and over again. I'm not saying we don't need a new fire engine. I'm not the fire engine chief. I've done no analysis in the fire engine, the age of it, whether it has any parts that don't work anymore, need to be replaced, how much maintenance is going on in it. But I ask myself, I wonder if we weren't getting 75 cents on a dollar, would we be buying a new fire truck? Then I see grants mentioned again later on in Consent Agenda Resolution 15, Consent Agenda Resolution 17. But is there a money-making machine that just prints out money with the word grant on it? All of this money is coming from the taxpayers. If it's coming from the state is taxing everybody in the state. And they're not only taxing me for my fire engine, but every single fire engine in the state. We're all being taxed for all this stuff. And I think I'll go, we'll go from here to the county. I go to county meetings, grant and grant and grant and grant and grant. And I ask myself, is really all of that necessary? And I don't know, I'm not one to say it is or it isn't. I'm not challenging whether it is or it isn't. It's just a personal thing, I guess. I'm really getting tired of hearing the word grant, because it seems like money is being given out very freely to towns, to counties, and to states. And the state of New Jersey is not a cheap state to live in. So, like I said, I must be the only person that doesn't like the word grant. Grants. I used to work at WT Grants, so that I liked, but not giving money out. And I really like the business administrator, James Ulrich, and I'm wondering, though, an annual salary of $1,750, does that mean when we really get a public works director, that's all that public works director makes? I can't wrap my head around, are there more hours needed? I know when I worked in business as a salaried employee, I got job on top of job on top of job on top of job, and if it took me 40 or 50 or 60 hours a week to do it, I still got paid for 40 hours. So not saying Jim doesn't deserve the $1,750. It's nothing against Jim personally. But I just can't wrap my head around why there's an annual salary of $1,750 for a director of public works. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Anyone else like to come forward? All right, we'll start answering some of those questions. I'll start with the grants. The politicians in this country, starting at the federal level down to the state level, the tax money goes into the federal government, goes into the state coffers, and everybody in public office likes to get reelected, so they take grant money and they offer it out like candy to a lot of from the federal government down to the states, and the states down to the individual counties and towns. We cannot give grant money out, but if people are going to offer it to us, we're going to take it. That's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. So until the federal government changes and then the state government changes, I don't think that's going to change. Have anything else to add, Mayor
Yes.
Albanese?
The money's not offered. It is offered, yes, it's advertised that there are grants available. We pursue the grants, and we've been successful. But believe me, we don't in Clark get our fair share of what the other towns in this state get, and we are proud of getting those grants. And if you have a specific question on one of the grants, DOT grant, the grant for the restoration of part of the structure at the historical house, or for the fire department truck, and maybe we would have pushed things a little bit further to get that $3.3 million truck. But I assure you, it's needed. And I'm relying on the experts when I do say that. That's all I have on grants right now. I don't know if you want to add anything, Jim?
Yeah, the only thing I would add is that all of these items are necessary items. So the $250,000 grant that we're going to apply for is the Sexton Pump Station, right? So it's a pump station, a sewer pump station that we need to upgrade. The roof on the Robinson House has been, falling apart. I mean, the place is a little bigger than my shed, and unfortunately, it's going to cost us almost $350,000 to replace it. Reason being is because it is an historical building, and it doesn't only benefit the Township of Clark, it benefits the state, the county, and this is another one of those uses. And Nancy, I agree with you 1,000,000%, right? Personally, doesn't say anything about the council or anybody else, but if they're going to be giving the money, and these are expenses that we need, and we could use some of that money to offset our costs, I mean, it makes total sense to do it.
So I just want to add on to that. So one of the grants we got was the curb cut grant. So I've been going to those meetings for over 20 years, CDGB. We don't have low-income situations, thankfully, here, as much as some of the other towns surrounding us. They do get those grants. They get large grants, hundreds of thousands of dollars. We get $16,000, $35,000. It was hard to even get to that amount, but I'm happy to give my time and participate in those meetings to make sure the money is doled out correctly from the community block grants. I guess maybe one thing you could do is go to the state and some of the other organizations if you feel that the government's giving out too many grants, and maybe either direct more money our way or tell them to eliminate them. That might be a good idea. But from my own point of view, I think it's important for the citizens to understand that we are working here to get as much in grants as we can. I know our schools in particular haven't gotten their fair share for one reason or another, maybe legitimate, maybe not. But we do try to get grant money, and from my own standpoint, I will continue to do so, and I'd be happy to discuss it further with you, Nancy. Thank you for the comments.
Great, thank you. On the DPW shade tree, I believe the $1,750 is the low end of the salary scale we have for that position?
Scale, I just looked it up, it's $1,750 to $20,000.
$20,000.
So that's the minimum.
Great, thank you. Back to the pilots again. Mr. Greaves, the student enrollment is down. I'm going to give you the exact number. We have 11 less students in our school district as of 3 weeks ago. We have 2,286 students in our schools, and that comprises ALJ, Kumpf, Henley, Valley, and the preschool. And last year at this time, we had 2,297, so we had 11 more. The school gets their fair share of the money they ask for from us. We are, if not the only one of the only towns in this state who does give back some money from the pilot programs. Every other town that we know of or contacted keeps the money for themselves. And again, whenever there's tax appeals, we have to foot the bill 100%. We don't go to the county and say, give us your 20%. We don't go to schools and say, give us our 50%. So you get up here every meeting and you ask us about the pilot programs, and until the school comes to us and says they need more money, which they don't because they have a surplus, there's no need for us to give them money. So go ahead, Mayor Albanese.
So, Mr. Greaves, I looked on your website, and there's a little lesson about limits on levy increases and information about the Board of Education. And it clearly states on there, you wrote, the state cap on levy increases. New Jersey law caps the annual increase in the school tax levy at 2% of the previous year's levy. This cap is intended to limit the tax burden on residents and requires districts to manage their budget within this constraint. Exceptions to the cap. Certain exceptions are exempt from the 2% cap, and you outline the items that are exceptions, similar to what the municipality does. And then you say, if the voters want to, they can increase the cap more than 2% if they need more money through a referendum. So do you want us to take money from one pocket and put it in another so that that goes within the cap? I'm not sure. What are you looking for? You're explaining and giving a whole history. No, I'm just going to state this, and you can answer it next time. No, I'm not going to have a discussion about it, but I'm just pointing out to the citizens of Clark that on the Stronger Clark website, which you're involved with, I believe, it clearly explains how the tax levy for the Board of Education works, which is just what the President pointed out, which we've pointed out at previous meetings as well. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Schulman, on the speed bumps are not illegal. You can get speed bumps, but there are a lot of restrictions to them. So, Jim, if you want to...
So, just high-level speed.
Can you lean into the microphone a little bit so we can hear you, please?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Okay, so speed humps must be 200 feet from any intersection. There must be a minimum of 300 feet between individual speed humps. Should be placed within the property line, positioned under streetlights, and on roads with less than 3,000 vehicles. So featherbed would not qualify under those circumstances.
Also, I believe that the accident that did happen there, the woman was ill. She became ill. It was not a reckless driving or over the speed limit, just to make that clear to the citizens as well, because it was extraordinarily amazing that the woman and her young son lived through that accident, okay?
Captain Akabu, I don't want to put you on the spot, but maybe I would. Do you have a minute to come up and explain how the police do their traffic studies just to the citizens? Thank you.
Captain Mike Akabu with the Patrol Division. I'm not a traffic expert, but we will be deploying the radar trailer in certain locations, and we will have proactive enforcement out on Featherbed. To answer Mr. Schulman's question, we never, as far as I've been the patrol captain, Featherbed Lane was never a problem area. But as far as with the traffic studies, I can have our traffic department and speak to Detective Captain Lott in regards to potentially put out a device out there.
Because I believe we did a traffic study within the last year or two on Featherbed, or maybe longer.
I don't know.
No,
I mean,
we can
got a
ask
bunch of traffic
Captain
studies.
Lott.
I mean, we could always check that out. But,
Yes.
But again,
And we have had complaints on Featherbed, but I get complaints on a lot of streets. And I think it was Mr. Greaves who told me traffic's not an issue in the town. But as I said before, and I think he's probably got a tape of me saying, traffic, traffic, traffic. That's what people are concerned about in this town when it comes to the police department. So yes, it is a problem. We ask that people do not speed, but they continue to do so. And as our officer in charge said, we'll be doing some studies, get some equipment out. And to the citizens, please be mindful when you're driving. You're coming off fast roads. Keep your mind on the road. As we mentioned this evening, we're passing a ordinance to protect children and others, adults, who drive motorized vehicles, which may be small and not expected when you're driving down the street. I walk a lot in town. People don't expect walkers. You have to be a defensive walker in this town, in any town. It's New Jersey. Everyone drives. We're not a city, we're a suburb. You must drive. So please be mindful. I don't want to admonish anyone, but I appreciate all those that do follow it. But, I see it every day. I've got the Ring camera messages that come up about people speeding all the time. All the time. So please be mindful.
You have anything
Thank you, Officer Akabu.
And, for the month of March, we did have 234 motor vehicle stops and 38 radar details. So it's a big, significant increase from the past month. So.
Great, thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Appreciate it. All right, at this time, we are going to close this portion of the public comments. Can I get a motion? Thank you, Councilmember Hunt. Can I get a second? Thank you, Councilman Manetti. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're going to go to professional comments. Mayor Albany, is there anything further to add?
This weekend, we have the Little League parade, correct?
And softball parade.
And
combined.
softball. And so in light of that, we're going to make a change, right, Jim, on the announcement that was made about the electronic drop-off. We're not going to have it this weekend coming up. We're going to change it to May 1st, May 3rd. Okay? So please make a note of that. Hopefully you're still tuned in, and make a note, May 3rd will be the electronic drop-off.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Hoff, do you have any closing comments?
I have a few, yes. I wanted to say, especially as the newest member of council, with the cost of things increasing, and I'm working hard on trying to get educated, and I feel very good about those who compiled and spent so many hours, especially in the face of recent changes that have occurred regarding changes to grants. Sorry, Nancy, but I'm going to talk about grants a couple times. It's amazing to see just how much really in the budget is such a fixed cost. But to see how fiscally responsible that this feels. So while I've said it privately, I do just want to say publicly thank you to the mayor, to the business administrator, and my fellow council members for helping me dive into and start understanding, but obviously seeing the tremendous work, the time, the knowledge that goes behind this budget, and I appreciate it immensely. Kind of as an addition, just talking about getting educated and understanding what's going on. The pilots, just not to jump on that as well, but it's been very rewarding and very clarifying, getting further education about the pilots. I know that, we've talked about it, it's come up multiple times, that there's been meetings for members of the public to understand that there's so much information online, and I think our council president does a great job each time, quite frankly, of explaining what's going on with the pilot programs. But I also want to say, I've heard this a few times, this is a pretty friendly group, and I think a very transparent group with information. And I keep hearing, occasionally at meetings, people say, well, people wanted me to ask. And I just want to say, as somebody who would come to meetings and ask questions or reach out or send messages or emails, there's so many ways to get in touch with the proper people in town that I would want to encourage people to take advantage and get their questions answered as best they can. So kind of switching up, the egg hunt this weekend, it was the first time I participated in the back end as opposed to as a mom trying to knock eggs out of, overbearing kids' little hands when they were younger. And, unsurprisingly, Ralph and his team did an incredible job. It was so wonderful to see. I knew it was a big undertaking, but to watch all of the volunteers working together, the fact that everyone that you passed at all the different stations and functions that they had going on, everyone was smiling. And those smiles are the results of so many people volunteering. And we got to hold little chickens from the Schiffer stand, so I thought that was so wonderful. And again, apologies to my neighbor Nancy, but I already had it in my notes about the grants. But I did just want to say, watching a neighboring town get a very close neighboring town have to come out of pocket 100% for the fire truck that they really needed. When I got onto council, I thought that was exceptional that we were able to take advantage, but it also requires work to apply for grants, and quite frankly, if we're not the recipients of it, someone else will be. I don't think they're going to cut off grants, but I think I'm personally, as in business, you look at different grants, and sometimes they're huge undertakings to apply and fill everything out. So I was already planning to just say thank you. I thought that was great, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone on Saturday. My daughter's last year in the Clark girls softball parade. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Hund.
Yes, thank you, Council President. Just want to thank Jim and his staff as well as the mayor and council members who worked on the budget. A $50 increase for the entire year is tremendous for the town after everything that's happened, as Councilwoman Hoff has said, with all the different changes that have gone on in the last several weeks or months. So, Jim, thank you very much, and please pass that on to your team and staff. What a great job on that. Congrats to the EMS employees, or I should say members, who received the awards that Councilman O'Connor mentioned earlier. That's tremendous that they're recognized for their efforts. It's a volunteer organization, and to receive those recognitions really means a lot to those individuals. And just real quickly, thank you to the mayor, as she explained the budget at the beginning of the meeting. I think she pointed out all the key points that needed to be mentioned, and that will pass along for people out in television land, if they were listening at that point, to give them a good understanding of what makes up the budget and how we go about that. So that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Mazzarella.
Yes, thank you, Council President. Just to make a quick comment on traffic around our community. Yes, we do have a lot of traffic. That's primarily because of the surrounding communities funnel all of the traffic down towards Central Avenue and the entrance and exit on the Parkway. We're probably one of the highest traffic issues throughout Union County because of the accessibility of the Parkway to the surrounding communities. So where do they go? They travel through Clark. Yes, they do travel at excessive speeds. But I was been telling a lot of the residents, because they do call me quite frequently, and they're concerned about the traffic and the speeding. And I tell the people that call, or when I see them on the roads, get involved. Be proactive, and if you see something, as I've always said, that doesn't seem quite right, whether it is by your home or whether it is vehicles traveling, call our police department. Take a tag number from the vehicle. Everybody has cell phones. Take a picture of the vehicle. Get involved. That's going to be the biggest deterrent, because then you're going to call police headquarters and give them the information and all of that, and give them the tag number, and they'll follow through with that. But what happens is people like to talk a lot about it, but they don't want to get involved. So you should, rather than speaking a good talk about traffic calming, what the police should do, what we should do about traffic calming, ladies and gentlemen, you're part of this community like the police department is, like we are. Get involved. Take the tag number, or take a picture of the tag number if you see speeding. Pass it on to our police headquarters. They'll follow it up. And if you see anything that doesn't seem quite right in your neighborhoods, call our police headquarters. They're going to respond quickly to ensure your safety. So that's all I have until next month. Be well, stay safe, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Minetti.
Thank you, Council President. Just one of the things when, about motorized bicycles. About a month ago, I was on Madison Hill Road. It was later in the evening, and there was a bunch of young kids on these motorized scooters wearing dark clothing. And if you know, these motorized scooters are black or dark colors. And a lot of these cars that we drive today don't make the sounds that we did 5, 6, 7, even 10 years ago. They're a lot more quieter. And anyway, to make a long story short, one of the kids was driving in the middle of Madison Hill Road, and I almost hit him. And the reason why I bring that up is, as a father and as a grandparent, I think as parents we should, ask our children, number one, not to be careful with these motorized bicycles. I know they're out there and a lot of people are buying them for their children, but we have to be very careful. They're dangerous, and if they're not going to take responsibility and drive down a road like Madison Hill Road, there could be, a fatality, or somebody could get seriously hurt. So I bring that to the community. Just talk to your children. There's a lot of new drivers on the road, including my son, and they're not always looking out for these bikes coming off the sidewalks and things like that. So just something, I wanted to bring the attention to the community. Second thing I know was mentioned with the Easter egg hunt, I thought it was a great job by Ralph. He did a wonderful job, brought a lot of the community together, and it was just an awesome time. And it is spring, and our sports are in full season. Come out and support our sports teams. We got baseball, we got soccer, baseball, softball, lacrosse playing at the high school. We got Clark Little League starting up, Clark softball. So go out, support our children, and look forward to seeing everybody on Saturday. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember O'Connor.
Thank you. First off, Jim, great job with the budget. And again, like you, your department, as well as all the department heads, because it's never a fun time when you got to put together the budget, because you can ask for everything, but you don't get everything. So it's a hard job, and thank you so much for that. With regard to the fire truck, so as many of you know, I've been on here for years. My dad was a volunteer Clark fire member, life member. And I remember, and I'm going to take a little out of Brian's book, he's probably got something going in his head. Mid-'70s, Ramada Inn went up, which is now the Holiday Inn. And because of that, we needed to get a snorkel. A snorkel was basically a bucket truck. It was lime yellow, and that was the beginning of what we needed. And again, we meet the needs of the community. And I wholeheartedly voted for the fire truck. To show up at a fire and not have the apparatus to do your job, to me, is unfulfilling. And remember, we have volunteers. They're not paid. So they're missing time with their families. I remember my dad running out Christmas Day to go to a fire. And to go to a fire, to leave your family and not have the apparatus to help you either save lives or put a fire out to stop further damage would be disheartening. So with that. With regard to traffic, as the mayor mentioned, traffic. Why is there so much traffic? It's not just Clark, it's all around. You can't get through Westfield, Clark, or anywhere because of traffic. So where does all this traffic come from? It comes from the state mandating that we build on basically every square inch that's buildable, nonstop, with no money for infrastructure. So they leave the towns with the price tag of them collecting taxes and just getting people into the state and let us figure it out. We're the ones that have to deal with it. No one's driven right since COVID. Since COVID, I mean, you drive the Parkway, Turnpike, Route 9, 22, no matter where you go, people just don't know how to drive anymore. And when I say that, what I mean is they think they know how to drive, but speed limit is not a limit, it's a suggestion. And I know, as Captain Akabu talked about, as the head of patrol, he's done a lot, his department's done a lot to try and slow down traffic, but unfortunately, we can't have a police officer on every street at every moment. So there are going to be times when people speed. So I know Captain Akabu and his team do the best they can, but again, it's New Jersey and they're building on every square inch that is buildable. So you want to start someplace, start with the builder's lobby, because they're the ones that are getting it done. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Toll.
Mr. President, I'm going to keep it quick. I'm going to pull this stuff out of my brain. I'm going to throw it out there. Fire trucks. He said it all about the personnel, but I'm going to throw the other stuff. I agreed with Mr. Armstrong's comments to a but, because the fire trucks are regulated by the state of New Jersey, and those regulations change constantly. So we're ordering a truck. Remember this, folks. Listen to what was said. We're ordering a truck, not for this year, not for 6 months from now, but 2 years from now, because it's cheaper. Plus, they also have to, they're not just like go out down to a car lot and buy a car or a truck. You're ordering specific vehicles to meet specific requirements of the state. And those requirements change. 1 year was about cabs. You had to have a crew cab. You couldn't have that. You had to have this. A whole bunch of regulations are constantly put on these apparatus, these machines, and they constantly change. And the towns have to react to that. The fire department reacts to it. And as Pat said, they're volunteers. We need to have the updated equipment so that we can do our job. In the middle of the night, when you hear those sirens, you know they're doing their job. And they should have, as I always say, safe, clean, and green. This town needs the safest police department, which we do have, and we have great leadership. This town has the greatest fire department because these guys love and care for the community. They're giving back. So if we're giving them a new toy, or a new, excuse me, I didn't mean to be disrespectful, but I'm saying something that makes them get their job done better. Let's give it to them. What's the problem? You gonna say no to that? That's ridiculous. Now, Dr. William Robinson Plantation. Just listen, it's a museum, 1690. There's nothing else in the state that matches up to it. Museums have regulations, have rules and regulations they have to abide by. In 2005, 2006, we put airplane wire across the center so the thing didn't collapse inwards on it. That brought the structural back to it, but over time, another, 19 years, 20 years, the roofs start to leak because they're shingles. They're not a roof with tar and all the rest. So what I'm trying to say to you is, it's a 1690 museum. Only one in the state of New Jersey, one of the most limited ones in the country, except you go up to New England, Boston, Massachusetts area. It's an issue that we're supporting something special to give to our children. So if we spend some money, yes, it's something that's appropriate. We're not wasting money. And as they said before, the architectural historian who comes from Cranford, nice lady, boy does she, because she's the only specialized person to do the documents on the house before it can even be touched. You go do improvements to your house, you know what the architecture costs you. This is tenfold that because it's a 1690 farmhouse. So I'm going to leave my comments now because it's late. To those we lost in the last month, Deborah Fallon, longtime Clark resident and a neighbor of mine on Dorset Drive, ALJ class of 74 alumni. Anthony Marzano, U.S. Navy veteran. Yvonne Legan, a longtime Clark resident. Charles Reichlet, loving husband of Nancy Okanowski, our former health officer, and a friend to Clark, New Jersey. A very nice man. With that said, folks, it's always something in this town, but we love our town, we give back our town, and we keep giving more because that's what it's all about. You got questions, as it was said before by Jessica Hoff? Just ask them. We're here to answer them. Thank you. Great Easter. Easter's over with. We're going now towards Memorial Day, right? I'll see you then.
Jim, you have anything to add?
Nothing to add.
Okay. Counselor, you have anything? Mr. Dugan? No, thank you. Madam Clerk?
No, thank you.
Okay. Just in closing, again, the Softball Little League Parade kicks off at 9 a.m. this Saturday morning at the Exxon Station on Westfield Ave and proceeds down Westfield Ave past the Municipal Building where the softball players go into their complex and the Little League makes a left and goes to their complex. So please come out and line the streets. I want to thank the American Legion for their kind donation to the memorial out in front of ALJ High School, which we'll start working on and ordering, I guess, the plaques and everything. It's all ordered. All right, that's even good news. So again, thanks for that. And at this time, a motion to adjourn. Thanks, Councilmember Tolk. Second. Thank you, Councilmember, who's that, O'Connor? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, see you next month. Thank you.